and thank you for watching our video about Dorothea Lange.
Dorothea Lange was an American documentary photographer who took pictures of people during the Depression or the 1930s. Her work showed the rest of the world the depressed and sullen lives of many other people of the time.
Yes, people who were on the brink of starvation, lived under one or two old blankets. Many people didn't even have that, and those who survived just to survive.
She started off by traveling around and photographing Native Americans, but then began to focus on things happening around her, such as labor strikes and breadlines.
Yep, her studies of unemployed and homeless people captured the attention of local photographers and led to her employment with the Federal Resettlement Administration, later called the Farm Security Administration.
The FSA stressed rural rehabilitation efforts to improve the lifestyle of sharecroppers, tenants, very poor land-owning farmers, and programmed to purchase submarginal land owned by poor farmers and resettle them into group farms or lands more suitable for efficient farming.
The FSA is famous for a small but highly influential photography program, 1935 to 1944, that portrayed the challenges of rural poverty.
Lange was married to Migrant Nixon, but it ended when she met and fell in love with Paul Taylor, a university professor and labor economist.
Both of them left their marriages to be with each other and then began to document the rural hardships that they saw for the Farm Security Administration.
Yep, for the next 5 years, Taylor wrote reports while Lange photographed what was going on. And one of those photographs that she took was that of the iconic Migrant mother. There are many different pictures of Florence Thompson, the mother in the photograph. However, this photograph is the most well-known of them all.
That's right. This picture shows a mother, face wrinkled and worn, with two young children sheltered behind her for safety, and a baby on her lap.
This picture gives a clear idea of what many families in the Depression had to go through.
And after this picture, she had 3 more kids, totaling 10 children.
This family was one of the many who were out of work pea pickers. However, there was a lot of freezing rain, ruining the crops.
Their family lived off of frozen vegetables and small birds that the children could go out and kill. Just before the picture was taken, Thompson had sold the tires on her car to buy food.
This was not an uncommon story during the Depression, as the Dust Bowl interior of the United States was full of families like hers, whom poverty had forced them off their land and properties into a life of wandering, their poverty overtaking their lives and everything that they owned until they ended up with nothing.
This one picture shows us that the Depression hit people very hard. Thompson's blank and distracted stare into the distance shows us that the things were not going to get better for a very, very long time.
Yes, it showed how difficult those times were. However, it raised a lot of questions such as, where's the father? Where are they now? Are they all alive? And did she have more children?
In the taking of this picture, Dorothea really wanted to show the rural poverty and exploit the migrant laborers and sharecroppers.
Yes, and from 1935 to 1939, Lange's work brought a new light to the poor and forgotten people as she brought it to public attention.
Right. She put her photographs in the newspaper for everyone to see.
Yes, and because of that, the editor of the paper contacted federal authorities and the government rushed to help the people and prevent starvation.
But you may think that Thompson was benefited by this photograph. You may think that she was helped and made famous by this photo, resulting in her getting money and a better life.
However, this was not the case. Migrant mother sure made Lange famous, but to the woman who worked so hard to protect and keep her children alive, who actually lived through the awful life and poverty-stricken Zutu, who sat and patiently waited for Lange to photograph her so that she could become the iconic and very figure of poverty, received nothing, seems very unfair.
Many years after the photograph was taken, Thompson and her children, which grew to a total of 10, had moved out of that area and moved up to the middle class, not through any help with the photograph.
And it wasn't until Thompson had a stroke and was in the hospital that the photograph did any good for her family.
Right. Her children were not able to pay the hospital bills, so they used their mother's identity as the migrant mother to their advantage. They managed to raise $15,000 to pay off their mother's medical bills.
However, Thompson sadly died after that, but her picture and identity as the migrant mother still continues on to today.